Hello, everyone. So,
Hello.
welcome to KP Voices Gardens of the Glow, episode 1, God Oxygen. First, today, I would like to welcome our guest, Oliver Newberry. Thank you so much for being with us today. So,
Thank you
could
for
you tell us
inviting me.
a little about yourself?
Oh, that's always a daunting question when people say, "Tell me about yourself." I'm a student from just outside of London, and I'm currently studying history, politics, and English. So I like writing.
Okay, I like writing as well. And I think that's such a lovely talent and skill to have. So we're starting, and could you please unpack a few terms for us for those who are new to this global realm of education? First, let us discuss deforestation and afforestation. What do they mean exactly?
So the basics. So deforestation is the clearing of a forest or the cutting down of trees to convert it into something for a non-forest use. And then you've got afforestation on the flip side of that, which seeks to combat deforestation and to plant more trees so we can get the levels of trees that were prior back to where they were, because obviously that is so important.
Yeah. So many of our young viewers will agree that our society is environmentally depreciating as a result of deforestation. So let's go back further and discuss what are the main causes of the increase in deforestation in our community.
So there's so many causes of deforestation. I think the biggest issue that people want to tackle is space. So the clearing of trees for infrastructure projects like the making of roads or agriculture, clearing land for to have different farming equipment and different animals there. You've got natural causes as well, so forest fires and climate change. It kind of seems like an involuted topic because deforestation causes climate change, but climate change also causes deforestation because you've got the dying out of the tropical rainforest, and then this leads to more forest fires. So you're kind of going in a vicious circle fires, the drying out, and then it all loops round together. Um, Obviously, logging, you've got illegal and unsustainable logging, things like that. Um, and palm and soy plantations. I think soy is in so many of the foods we eat today. So people want to extract that from trees today, but they don't realize the effects of what cutting down trees does.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for laying those out. The basics that most of us already do know, that like industrial agriculture, logging, and climate change in general. It's just so many things that we do or that we think that we have to do because of the world that we're in now, industrialization and everything developing. And these are basic things that we do to live by. So we're all guilty of doing these things one way or the
Yeah.
other, either directly or indirectly. So could you tell us what some short-term and long-term effects of these things that we're contributing to deforestation are?
Yeah, I think primarily you've got the loss of habitat. So obviously, if you're cutting down the trees, you're removing them habitats and you're taking the animals' homes away from them. In doing this, we are disrupting whole ecosystems. So you've got so many systems that are interlinked and all weave into each other, and they've got a perfect dynamic. We come along, we're slashing down these trees, and we're disrupting everything. And I think it's not really our place to be doing something, and we're kind of thinking we have this authority when really we don't have this mandate. And I think it was 70% of land animals and plant species live in forests, so cutting down the trees is awful for the animals. And then obviously, from school we all know the equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water is glucose and oxygen. So trees actually take in carbon dioxide. And as we know, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. So if there's less trees, this means less carbon dioxide is actually being taken in. That means that more carbon dioxide is in our atmosphere, and it's going up and it's contributing to this bubble around the globe of greenhouse gases, which is warming our earth, contributing to climate change, which has so many other effects. And also the water cycle. I think having so many trees and plants regulates the water cycle. And once again, if we're disrupting that, we're throwing the whole system off balance.
Yeah, so thank you so much for giving us a rundown and a very necessary reminder of the basic things that we have learned in biology that so many of us have not implemented in our day-to-day lives. So, as she has said, the climate imbalance and just adding to climate change and the negative effects of it is really what we're doing every day. We're causing soil erosion, we're making fewer crops, we're destroying habitats of so many animals, we're disrupting the cycle. We're disrupting the water cycle, we're disrupting the cycle of food chain, of every other thing, basic human life systems that have to be in place, and it is not in our place to do so, as she has said. But that should show the basic importance of stopping this. And as we have seen how far that um, we have gone in deforestation and how important that this thing is. So deforestation is important in a developing society, in a developing community, because you need to cut down trees, you want
Yeah.
to build roads, you want to build houses, hotels, schools, everything. And so with all that happening, I would really love to know if you think it's possible to achieve a great agriculturally developed community in spite of how far things have gone in
Yeah.
industrialization and urbanization.
I think it's possible. I think we need to try, because if we're sitting back being passive, we are never going to know. So we need to try to plant more trees and do this, because I think obviously we need deforestation. We can't just completely abolish it. But it's almost a selfish action. I think we need to start thinking more before we implement them actions. And I think we need to go back to the drawing board and think, what do we absolutely have to necessarily do, and what could we do without, or what alternatives could we find? But I think now more than ever, people are realizing the weight of the situation, what climate change is doing, essentially. I think we had obviously coronavirus pandemic, but the biggest pandemic of all is climate change, and I think it's now that we need to tackle this. We need to try and plant more trees and look into afforestation, because with deforestation, it's just everything's going downhill. More carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, more greenhouse gases, more climate change.
Amazing. Like, I loved it when you said the biggest pandemic is climate change.
I think
And
it is.
it's so important, and so many people are overlooking it and how far things could go if this thing carries on. And the long-term effects of these things, like we highlighted earlier. I do think it's possible, like you said, then, but there needs to be that balance. Obviously, we're not against development, we're not against increase and making things better and easier for us as human beings, but we also need to know where to draw the line and where to stop when we realize that, oh, we're actually damaging the environment seriously. So this is our home, this is our earth,
Exactly
this
that.
is where we are, and it's important to us. Now that in the next 10 years or in the next 20 years, we are seeing the huge effects of these things. And there are definitely things that you can do to support your environment, to help it while also being an agriculturally developed one. You can be industrialized, you can also be climate safe, you can be climate wise, and you can also make sure that you are not going too far with these things. So, a way to work towards that level environmentally is afforestation, as she has already highlighted for us. It's basically the establishment of a forest or trees in an area where there was no previous tree cover. So there's ground, and then you just plant. That's basically afforestation. The flip side, the opposites of deforestation. And for those interested in making a difference, how do we start with afforestation? How do we decide what trees to plant and where?
Yeah, I think going back to what you were just saying, there's a fine line between being so industrialized and actually caring about the environment. But I do think it is possible to achieve that, because after all, I think we're about the same age. This is our future we're looking at. We don't have a planet B. This is our home. We need to tackle this now. So, afforestation, I think there's a lot of factors that you need to compile into when thinking about this. So you've got to think about the soil, the vegetation, the different things to do with that. Like you can't just go out and suddenly think, oh, I'm going to plant a tree. You need to actually look at all the different causes of that. But I think it's important that we learn about the environment and how it will invariably affect our future. And we had the COP26 summit in Scotland not too long ago, and everyone in England was really hyped up, like, oh, this is amazing, we're moving towards action against climate change. And now I feel like it's suddenly all dropped and it's all gone out of the news. But we need to really maintain it and keep it at, it's a priority, it needs to be at the top of our agenda. And we can't just shy away from the issue because we are hurtling towards a planet that is derelict and a planet of destruction, basically. So we need to think about our actions.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think when you're starting afforestation, as long as you're not necessarily doing it for the financial gain from it,
Yeah, as
it
long as you're not
shouldn't
doing
be
it for
too
profit.
much. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So you don't need to start looking for which type of timber is in the best markets right now, how much wood can I cut from this big tree. It's pretty simple when you do not want to take it too far. So you
Yeah.
can start with planting something small, just digging a hole in your backyard, in the front of your house, and just planting a tree. Invest in some seeds, invest in different things. Like in my house, for example, right outside, we have banana trees and pineapples growing outside, and it's really helpful. So we just harvested a banana tree. So we have a lot of bananas at home right now.
Are they in
Giving it
season?
out,
Do they have
what?
particular seasons then for the
Yeah.
banana? Are they in season
Mhm.
at the moment?
Um, so I think with bananas, it just depends on when you plant them.
Right. Yeah.
But they're not necessarily, oh, they do not grow in this part of the month, they do not grow in that part of the month. It's
That must be
possible,
so
but
helpful.
yeah. And when you start small, start
Yeah.
with a plant. It might be a fruit you like, it might be just a tree that doesn't take too long to grow. Obviously you need to take things like soil type and tree type into consideration, but it should be pretty simple. If you do not want to take it too far, you can start a planting project, anything in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think big, start small.
Yeah, start small because the ripple effects of small things have proven to be extraordinary. So always keep that in mind. And with that, we would bring it to a close, this short podcast to a close, and really hope that some of you were able to take some things from here. Um, And so, thank you so much for joining us for this episode on Guardians of the
Thank
Globe.
you.
If you would like to find out more about Olivia Newberry, follow her on her social media at Olivia_Newberry at Instagram. So do not forget to stay tuned for the next episode. And if you liked what you heard and would like your children to be more involved in K3 Voices online learning, feel free to reach us at https:/2 times CFEonlinelearning.com. So, all right, guys, remember to see yourself even if the world is blind. Reflect, connect, and transcend every internal and external barrier that will cage your voice. Remember, be cage free and be amazing like Olivia Newberry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.